Oh, he's here.
Hello.
Hey, Polly.
Hello.
Hang on. Did you know that we're live?
I had a sense.
Yeah. Is it typical of you to show up 3 minutes late to your streams?
According to my clock, I'm dead on time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The people of Christmas Island, they know that I'm here. It's fine.
Oh, I'm so glad that the people of Christmas Island exclusively know that you're here. What a way to start off this lovely partnership that we've decided to enter into together.
Excuse me.
Polly, send me your links that you want in the description.
All right, I will.
Polly, we're going live in like 10 minutes. Are you gonna be there? Silence. Polly, I'm live. Oh, I figured. Might I remind you that this was entirely your idea?
Can I say how adorable I find it? How you intone an impression of yourself. Polly, send me your thing. Could you make yourself sound sweeter or more blameless? Could you?
I am God's gift to humanity, and I know my audio is out of sync. That'll be something I fix at some point in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
I'm glad I didn't get to hear an impression of me.
I'm glad I didn't get to hear your impression of me.
Okay,
that's my impression of you.
That's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to get like the cartoonish doofus voice, like, "Oh, what time is it?"
I mean, I could totally alter it so that that's exactly what you sound like to me in my head. But I don't think, that's a good way to start off our professional working relationship, Polly.
I mean, well, look at this though. The links, you've got them inside chat. I'm here. I've got bells on and everything.
But you were late.
No. According to my clock, I was dead on time. It says 8:00 p.m. when I entered. So
is your clock set 3 minutes prior to what the rest of our clocks are set at?
I just as long as I went live when the people of Christmas Island are expecting, it's fine. Does
Christmas Island exist in its own separate time zone from the rest of us, where it's 3 minutes off, Polly? If that's the case, Polly, we're going to have a discussion with the people of Christmas Island, because this is unacceptable.
Well, there's only 1,800 of them, so that would actually be possible. You could talk to all of them at once.
Okay, hang on, because you've been referencing Christmas Island for quite a bit now. Is Christmas Island like where is it exactly?
It's in the Indian Ocean. It's a real place. I didn't make it up.
Yeah.
I will not have you denying the existence of Christmas Island. It's I don't know. It's in the Indian Ocean. It's technically an Australian protectorate, I believe. It's to the extreme northwest of Australia.
Where is Christmas Island? And I spelled that entirely wrong.
And it's 7 a.m. there right now.
You don't live in Christmas Island, do you, though, Polly?
No. See, I'm not excuse me, I'm not entirely certain they have the internet on Christmas Island.
Then why is this your metric? Polly.
No matter what, they have satellite internet.
Oh, good for them.
Well, everybody.
Polly, do you live on Christmas Island?
No, but my care and concern for the people of Christmas Island is not constrained by my residency there. All right.
Polly, shame on you. You can't use the people of Christmas Island as your scapegoat for why you're late.
I wasn't late. According to my clock, it was 8:00. I was
reset your clock to be 3 minutes ahead then, all right? I do it with my clocks. They're always 5 minutes ahead.
Really?
They are. I'm not even kidding. Here, look.
No, I believe you.
And it says 8:12, but it's actually 8:08.
No, see, I tried doing that with the clock in my car. Sorry, I just went through the real history of HuWhite people. I set the clock in my car 10 minutes ahead, but it didn't work because I damn well knew it. I was just constantly doing math in my head, looking at it, knowing what the quote real time was. So,
well, that's a you problem. You should probably get over that. Speaking of me problems, right? Flawless transition, Weebo. Wabajack for 2 in Super Chat says Weebo abuses Polly, and I guess that's a hashtag now. So that's a thing.
Yes. I was fully expecting that, but it's a good thing I'm a resilient person.
Exactly. There you go. I think you can take it. Well, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
We'll see. That's why I brought drinks.
Should we introduce ourselves? Hi, I'm Weebo, everybody. You might have heard of me.
I'm a serial abuser of men.
I've never done any such nonsense in my life. What are you talking about? Filthy liar. Polly, would you like to introduce yourself to my audience?
My name's... Hold on here. I got a double... There we go. Fuck. I had a double echo thing working.
Nice. His name is Rutabaga. Sorry. Continue. You were saying. I'm Polly. That's hello. Yeah. You've probably heard of him. Probably not. Let's be honest.
No, a lot of your audience probably hasn't. I don't know. What do people even care to know about somebody on a stream?
What's your star sign?
My star sign?
Yeah.
I'm a epsilon. I don't.
Polly, that's ridiculous. An epsilon is a Greek letter, not a star sign. Fuck.
Oh, you mean astrological sign?
Yeah. You've never heard it referenced as a star sign before?
Not outside of science fiction, no.
Okay, but also, here's the thing. You interpreted star sign to mean Greek letters, so...
I was trying to go science fiction-y, and I thought an epsilon sounds pretty science fiction-y, just admit it. It is.
Star sign, like, I'm in Aries.
Are you?
Mars is in retrograde. I don't fucking know.
Mars is never in... Mercury is in retrograde, not Mars.
Mars is in retrograde?
No, Mars doesn't retrograde. Mercury retrogrades.
I don't know what retrograde means with regards to astrology. I'm just spewing words out of my face, Polly. Just introduce yourself, god damn it.
My name's Polly. I'm a Virgo.
Oh, that tells us a lot.
It does?
I have no fucking clue. That's going to be the second episode. We review star signs and what they say about us.
They're not called. Where are you getting this star signs thing from? They're not going.
It's simpler for my face to articulate. Aight?
All right.
Aight. So hello, everybody. This is Cocktail Hour, where we take an hour and a half of your time during a Sunday, more often than not, to discuss shenanigans, as it were. Did I do a good job, Polly? Did I endorse us? Did I introduce? Was that acceptable?
That was worse than you yesterday on Monkey in the Morning, attempting to promote yourself and the show.
I wasn't on Monkey in the Morning.
No, you're in chat.
Well, no, that wasn't Monkey in the Morning. That was Lords of the Night, and I was having a great time. All right, I was.
These things blur. I drink. It's fine. You it was a monkey chat stream, and you were in it in the chat. And yeah, I'm. You're cracking jokes about like nonsensical nothing, and I'm sitting there trying to promote the show, going, "Oh, you can come now for the cocktail hour."
I have no mind for business. When you have a pretty face, it gets easier to not worry about that kind of thing. Polly,
take that as a quote, y'all. Holy crap! That female privilege run amok.
Heckin' yeah. Anyway, so if you guys would like to support both of us, there are links in the description. I put Polly's links in there, who has recently just adorned himself with a Streamlabs link, which he's been getting nagged about for many moons now. And then, of course, there's always mine as well. And the P.O. Box, too, if you'd like to send me stuff in the mail for unboxings at whatever times. And then...
No more glitter bombs. She's notified the police. It won't go well.
I've never gotten a glitter bomb. I've gotten so much worse, though, Polly. It's bad.
Worse than a glitter bomb?
Polly?
Like, have you gotten like weird stuff, like locks of people's hair and with attached to scalp?
Ask Jolander sometimes what he sent me. All right?
Really?
There's a whole 4-minute video on my channel about what I did with that thing.
Thing? What the hell was it?
We call it the average Joe.
Oh, okay. That, I don't know. I don't even want my imagination to think about whatever the hell
It's
that was.
exactly where it's going. Anyway, so yeah, I'm monitoring the lovely chat. Hello, everybody. Assassins of the Grey, Shiogorath, Lion Patriot. Lion Patriot was like super excited about this collaboration. He told me so, kind of.
Yeah, I saw that in chat, and I guess it would have been Lords of the Night, not Monkey in the Morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Lords of the Night. See? Now you're getting your memory back. Remember, kids, it's not alcoholism until you graduate from school completely.
I've tried telling people that, and no one bought it.
Repeat it enough times, and they will. Trust me.
Weebo told me that the other day. She's like, just remember, it's not alcoholism until you graduate. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm going to use that. And then I tried, and nobody bought it. It sucked.
Thank you to Waba Jack for the $2 over on the Super Chats. You only lasted 4 minutes with the average Joe. Actually, no. The video was a lot longer before I edited it down. But after that happened, it was like a 4-minute video and documenting exactly what happened over a longer period of time. Because there was a lot of stuff that went into that. I had to get some postage for it. I had to get packaged. It was a whole hot finagle. Anyway, so we should probably get to the purpose of this stream, the title of this stream. Do you like how I titled it?
I already said so.
The Real History of White People?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Excellent.
Not the one you were taught in school. We're going to go like full New York Times Magazine 1619 real history here.
Yes. How do I screen share? Don't
By
show me
clicking the button that says screen share.
Oh, you're a genius.
I know.
All right. So, hey, look, all of the different links that Weebo has for stuff. Yep. Anyway, so I found this on my traversals of the internet many moons ago. I think maybe Balik showed it to me. Everyone knows Balik. Balik's my housemate. And what I'm thinking it is it's well, let's just get into it. I don't want to make any assumptions, ruin it for anybody, but we'll read through some of this nonsense. I think it's going to be a good time. Polly, what do you agree?
Do I agree it's going to be a good time?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I actually haven't read through this yet, but I enjoy this kind of material. I enjoy people making fantastical, insane predictions or descriptions of their racist nonsense, but somehow they're talking about white people. So it's okay. This is some Black Israelite shit. This is some Nation of Islam style shit. This is going to be great.
I'm so ready.
I really believe I'm hoping, I should say, at some point they're going to go into the descriptions of how magical melanin connects them to the creative powers of the universe or something.
I wonder what format this has been generated in. Like, is it APA? Is it MLA? Is it Chicago Tribune? Or is it something completely different?
You mean they actually attempt academic citation?
I don't know. I'm wondering. That's one of my questions. I have a great many of them.
A Genetic Odyssey by Spencer Wells.
All right. I'll read it. I'll read what the purpose of this. The purpose of this article is to explain who and what white people, such as those in Europe, really are, as opposed to those in not Europe. Anyway, in order to do that, we will disprove and dispel by scientific means all of the white people's myths and falsifications. Why is myths capitalized but falsifications isn't?
Why is white people and myths capitalized?
That's a good question. For emphasis, Polly, for emphasis. Anyway, to accomplish this goal, 2 things must be made clear. 1, the number of white people in the world is very small. Worldwide, there's only about 800 million to 1 billion whites, albinos. Okay, actually, that is only about 10% of the world's human population. This is, of course, a great surplus to all blacks who have been called minorities by these albinos. Blacks, those of Negroid and Caucasoid phenotype, are, of course, the original humans and number over 5 billion of the world's 8 billion people. The truth of this statement is self-evident. by this fact. Pause. Thoughts, Polly?
It's good that they put self-evident in quotations.
Self-evident.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, it provides evidence simply through statement of the thing. No, what you just said doesn't fit that description, but all right.
Aren't white people supposed to be of Caucasoid phenotype? Am I mistaken in this assumption, Polly?
It depends on how full retard this guy is going to go, because I mean, Arabs are Aryan, like through certain racial theory, depending on who you talk to.
They're the other 2 billion unaccounted for population.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if they're going. I'm really hoping they're going to go into some bizarre racial theory, like the Nation of Islam stuff. The Asiatic black man, and they're not in fact an African. You're an Asian, and it's like, oh, this should be fun. So I don't know. It depends on how they're categorizing people. I'm certain it'll be self-evident no matter what.
All right. Are we ready? Should we read this little excerpt here, or just the underlying portions of it? Because I feel like he's pointing directly at the parts with which we need to pay attention, right?
Yeah, I would say just read the highlighted parts, and if it asks for context, we'll read in and around it. How about that? All
right, good talk, because this is a long article, and we have 1 hour and 10 minutes. So, for brevity's sake. From the book The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey by Spencer Wells, page 39, E pluribus unum 39, you are more likely to sample extremely divergent genetic lines within a single African village than you are in whole of the rest of the world. Interesting. Are you familiar with Spencer Wells? Because I'm not.
I've never even heard of him. Assuming that's a real person.
I'm looking him up.
Okay.
You have the link for this, right? Should I throw the link in chat? I should probably throw it.
You should.
Yeah. All right, everyone, if you want to read along, the link is in the chat. Spencer Wells is a geneticist, anthropologist, author, entrepreneur, adjunct. What does adjunct professor mean?
Adjunct.
Okay, adjunct.
It means lowest rank of. It's basically the lowest rank of instructor that you can be. You're on sessional hire, where you're not necessarily teaching a class right now, but you're on staff in such a way as if they need to bring you in to teach a class, you can.
You're a professor on retainer.
No, on retainer implies that they're paying you something, whether you're doing something or not.
A professor on standby?
Well, I thought that was a yes. That's a good way to describe it. You're a professor on standby.
Okay. Anyway, interesting. I'm sorry, you were saying before I interrupted you with my Googling.
I don't remember. What was I saying?
Genetic lineage within a single African village. More extremely divergent.
I'm looking forward to arguments, because I read a lot of this stuff, like We Was Kangs, and heard these arguments from various nutcases, and the black man's the original man, and everyone else is but a derivation thereof, and less pure, and the richest, strongest DNA can be found in Africa. And that kind of seems what that little line is aiming at, lineages within a single African village. And it's okay.
The richest genetics.
Yeah. The purest DNA can be found in pure African peoples that have never interbred. And it's like, define pure. Anyway, so we're reading on. Chromosomes of 40%.
Wait, no, we have to read the input. Like, this text is, I think, the most telling, the most important, because this is just his attempt to. So, okay, whenever I make a video, right, I have the screenshots of evidence that are supporting what it is that I'm saying, the claims that I'm making. This is his equivalent of that.
All right.
So we need to read the in between texts. Those are most important. So. Do you want to read, Polly?
Hold on. Let me open the link. I still haven't done that.
All right. I'll read this one, then you can read the next one.
All right.
Some might wonder exactly why European and Asian populations have so little genetic diversity. The answer is quite simple, as fully explained below. European populations derive mainly from just the Black Dravidian people of India, which is just one of the many ethnicities of India. Hang on. European populations derive. Okay, sorry, confused. The lack of diversity among Mongol people is much more complicated, though, to begin with. We already know from the Chinese history section that the original out of Africa people who went to China were ordinary Negroid phenotype Africans that we know today as the Zai, Jaman, and Anu. But also with them were Mongol phenotype Africans like the Himba and San to try to explain what happened to Northeast Asia. We will cite 2 scientific studies. I wonder how.
God, this is sounding like kraut and tea already.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just blah, blah. I don't like what you said, so I'm going to, academics respond.
Would you? Okay, you don't have to read. Actually, you know what? It might be interesting to read the abstract and then see how much it aligns with what it is that they're trying to say.
What, this publicmed.gov one?
Polly, do you have something against NCBI?
What?
Do you have something against NCBI? This source? This?
No, not really. Why?
I don't know. You sounded disdained.
No, I just did. What is it you want me to read? Like, 'cause I'm there right now. You want
The abstract.
Oh,
maybe.
the abstract. The Y chromosomes one?
Maybe.
All right.
Do you think it would be beneficial to our audience?
No.
No? All right, then skip it. Okay. We're not here to learn anything new. We're just here to mock.
Hold on. Look, here's the short version of the story. More than 40% of the Chinese Han population can trace their family tree back to super grandfathers who lived during the Neolithic era. 3 people. That's it. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay. Look, genetic weird shit. Moving on. So,
okay, hang on. Pause. Because, okay, Polly, and I'm not probably going to do this explanation justice, all right, if by any stretch of the imagination, but have you ever heard of mitochondrial Eve?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, so then based off of that, okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, and I'm probably going to butcher this explanation because Balick does it so much better, but mitochondrial Eve is basically the woman person from which we can trace all genetic human heritage back towards, I guess. It's that one thing that's prevalent in all genetics studied. Am I getting that right, Polly?
You're getting it right, but
I'm not explaining it very well.
Yeah, you've muddled the information better than I muddled the lime in this drink.
Mm-hmm. I have no doubt of that.
Mitochondria are tiny things that are inside all human animal cells. They're inside of all animal cells, actually. And through maternal line, meaning all women, you can trace consistency. That's what mitochondrial analysis is. And, all human beings, blah, 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 have mitochondrial similarities going all the way back to, you can find to one woman. So what's the point in all that? That you can trace all human beings back to a very specific woman. And it's like, shocker, guys, shocker. Human beings are descended from other human beings. Like, I don't understand it. So what? Random people of different types weren't popping out of the soil that aren't related to each other around the world? No shit. But I mean, this is just it's genetic analysis, and it's really interesting that you can, for those interested in the hyper details of biology, that you can do that kind of analysis. You can't trace it through the male line, but you can through the female line because of this mitochondria stuff. So yeah, you can trace it back to one woman, and that's more or less what they've done here. They found out that the Chinese population are related to a certain much smaller Neolithic population from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And somehow this guy's going to demonstrate that albinos are white people are weirdo freakish albinos.
So do we read the DNA evidence suggesting 3 million Chinese men, or do we this little
I think we
subject right here?
We just kind of said, yeah, I'll just read the description and the bright red text beneath it. This is looking like some psycho's blog. Have you ever read Time Cube? This looks like Time Cube.
Probably that was the very last episode of Weebo Live before I went off to summer stuff.
Time Cube was?
You were there. I think you were there.
Was I?
I think you were there. We still have to finish it. We are halfway through Time Cube.
Oh, you mean I was like actually on the stream?
I think you were there in the stream. It was
Weird.
either you or Scribe.
Huh.
Either way.
But I mean, like, like the size and the font and the coloring and keep changing. That's what this reminds me of, like some crazy person's blog, like TimeCube. So in any case, the discussion says, and this is this guy's random
We're reading
bullshit.
the red, correct?
No, the green. Oh, let's go into the red. Fuck it. Let's jump around.
Okay.
Go with the red. As is usual with the work of European albinos and Mongol Asians, nowhere is heard a word about the black man because they're racist,
Their father. Was it Scribe? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was like, their father. Oh, yeah. It actually says that. Nowhere is heard a word about the black man, their father. The reason for that, of course.
Hang on. I wonder why.
Well, I see what you were saying. That was so racist.
Sorry, but it just presented itself so beautifully right there on a silver platter. I had to take that opportunity. Probably it would have been a crime against comedy not to take that opportunity.
Comedy. Nowhere has heard a word about the black man, their father, who went out for cigarettes and never returned. The reason for that, of course, is quite simple. If the black man is mentioned, then they'll be aware that he left. Then his place must be given and explained. Then his place must be given and explained?
Okay.
All right, yeah. That would leave European albinos and Asian mulattoes with the very uncomfortable task of explaining their own place in the hierarchy of human beings.
Thank you. The Price is Right for the $2 over on the super chats. I hope you're doing well tonight, Weebo. Stay awesome. I am. Thank you. Sunglasses, smiley face. And then I think you got like a coinage shenanigans because I heard something on your end.
Who?
You, I think.
That you heard
spillage.
No.
There was no magical coin drop.
No.
Am I hearing things?
I wish there was magical coin dropping happening, but there's not. So
okay. Yeah. Check your Streamlabs regardless.
I've got it open right now. No, it doesn't.
There's nothing there?
No, it's over in the far corner. I can see there's nothing in there.
All right, I'm going crazy then. Continue.
All right. In any event, the evidence seems to suggest about the Mongol phenotype black Africans, such as some San people, not sand.
San. Who are the San people, Polly?
They're like those strange bandaged folks that live on Tatooine,
Really? All right. Continue.
Produce the most albinos. And in keeping with albino behavior in the rest of the world, these albinos, along with their mulattoes, killed or absorbed most of the Black East Asians.
Are we the blob?
Oh, all right. Keeping in mind that the average Chinese is neither black nor white, but rather a mulatto. This is consistent with the current population surveys, which find that the San of Southern Africa have the, quote, lightest complexion of all Africans. Examples of these people are found below. For those who don't believe our claim that European albinos are a small minority of the human race, perhaps the word of that old racist Benjamin Franklin will do. Okay.
All these words? Oh, nope, just these. Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of Anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs, any more than they can acquire our complexion? Which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionably very small. All Africa is black or tawny, Asia chiefly tawny, America exclusively of the newcomers wholly so, and in Europe the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we would call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only expected, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I could wish their numbers were increased. So what Benjamin Franklin here has said is that there is no true white person, right? In which case, all of those nationalities he mentioned are essentially Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not highlighted, therefore it doesn't count towards the argument. Never mind.
I find it interesting that he recognizes the Germans as being swarthy. You hear that, Hitler? You're swarthy. Huh?
I've only ever heard the term swarthy been used in like 3 instances in my entire life, and one of them was yesterday when Lauren Chen was doing her like pseudo-intellectual thing.
Ouch. Whoa.
She was talking about Liam on the stream or whatever it is, the show.
There could be other pretty smart girls on fucking YouTube, Weebo.
I'm not implying that women aren't intellectual. No, that's the name of the show. It's pseudo-intellectual.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I thought you were being a bitch.
Wow, you're so readily available to believe that of me. Holly, thank you. That's the sweetest thing you've ever said.
I thought you were taking a catty swat at her. I didn't.
Oh god, no, I'll be a lot more like in your face about it if I do. But yes, all girls are dumb. I am the only smart girl.
Oh, really quick.
Carrying on.
Really quick over on the Streamlabs. Evolved Potato, thank you very much. He says, don't fucking dig up, Polly. Be nice to Weebo. I need this as my Monday stream. No,
So,
I gotta be nice to Weebo to not fuck this up. Yeah. So no, you said that like there is no purely white people is what you're taking away from what Dr. Franklin says here. No, at the end he says Saxons accepted, who with the English make up the principal body of white people found on the face of the earth. That he's saying like these are the white people. Everyone else is swarthy or tawny.
So, but like, in which case, a majority of the European population doesn't count as white. Like, I'm so confused by the argument that he's trying to make because it's contrary to the argument that he's trying to make, right? So we've included most of Europe in this sect of almost white, but not quite white people. And then we're also going into, oh gosh, and Balik's back. You can hear him. He's distracted me. I lost my train of thought entirely. But it seems that there is an element of contrariness to this argumentation. I can't put my finger on it, like, exactly. Maybe if I, like, analyzed a little bit more closely. Oh, look, Swarthy! Once again. I'm so glad that he's got a little bit more of a vocabulary than your normal crazy internet intellectual.
I do love that he throws in these definitions of swarthy and tawny are found in Benjamin Franklin's 1751 essay, America is the Land of Opportunity.
Has this man ever met a lot of Europe? They are not, like, the most swarthy.
Yeah, I loved it because, you know, he's not talking about, I mean, this is the 1750s when Franklin's writing. This isn't Sweden after their recent immigration policies. Like, this is old school Swedes, man. And he says they're tawny. What?
Tawny.
Well, no, swarthy. He actually says they're swarthy. I mean, you like, okay, Spaniards, okay, Italians, okay, French, like as in Moravians, okay, I guess. But the Swedes, nah, dude, you fucking you lost me. They're whiter than Weebo. No.
And I'm okay, I'll say this. For the people in the back, I'm pretty pale in complexion, sure, I'll grant you that. But you go back a generation, my aunt and my father are pretty olivey in skin tone, and they are more Polish than I am. There's less diversity in their heritage than this. But like where you're from on a map, you can't really use as a generalizer nowadays, especially of what a person is supposed to look like, because we travel a lot now, especially nowadays. And so there's a lot more intermingling of the different genetics rather, or as opposed to prior to when it was that, you know, people free traveled as much. So that's something to consider. But
I do love that in the dictionary thing that he took here. It's olive and olivaster. At Olivasters, darkly brown, tawny, bacon.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm bacon complexioned. Thank you.
You know what? I'm gonna use that in my everyday vernacular now. Polly, this is great. I've expanded my words. Ooh, that's going on my word of the day, toilet paper.
That's a thing?
I think so. I've heard of it, but I've never actually interacted with word of the day, toilet paper. So slight tangent. The Price is Right review. Thank you for the $5 over on the super chats. I got some side news if you haven't heard yet, but now a feminist campaign just legalized 11-year-olds to walk around topless in Colorado. No joke. Oh boy. You know what? I'll get to that in a video at some point. All right? I'm gonna write it down. Polly, continue.
Well, Weebs is writing notes about naked 11-year-olds. Polly. We're
trying to be professional here.
We are?
No.
I can't get over this that he starts quoting from Mein Kampf. Like, that's who you're going to for your...
Are we sure this isn't a troll? Because I feel like this might be.
Yeah, I think it's really possible. In his book, Mein Kampf, 1925, Hitler referenced the 30 Years' Wars as setting the tone for modern Germany. Bridge across your mind.
The 30 Years' Wars was... Refresh my memory, Polly, since you're like super into history and all that jazz. Was that that wasn't the... Is he referring to the Franco-Prussian War? Question?
Whoa. Hold on. Are there any dogs around that can tell me what Weebo just said?
The Franco-Prussian War? Sorry. It wasn't 30 years long, was it?
No, I don't even think 30 Years War was 30 years.
It's
Wasn't
been
that the
a
one?
while since I took a course on that.
I'm not really strong with European history, honestly. The French and the English, I would imagine, they were always going in. Yeah, the 30 Years' War was the French and the English, I believe.
Yeah, but that's far back compared to it's 1925, but still that's a while back.
Okay, well, let's jump over his
okay. Let's move past Hitler.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, here we go. This all right. The falsity of HuWhite history begins and ends with their desire to hide their true nature. Oh, here's where it gets good. That being that they are derived from albinos. Weebs, we know that we're derived from albinos and we desperately try and hide it.
My brother is. I don't know about me.
Shut it down. They know.
Shining example of the Aryan, Hitler wet dream ethno-state representation. That my brother.
Your brother's a National Socialist?
No. He looks like Hitler's wet dream.
Oh.
Like blue eyes, blonde hair, tall, lanky, not at all swarthy, like my dad. It's really weird. Anyway, sorry.
Their efforts to make all peoples of historical significance white would appear to be their effort to make themselves the new normal, i.e., see, everybody important was white, therefore white is good, the best even. This fabricated concept of themselves is obviously so satisfying and so ingrained that it has become delusional. Even today, there are many whites who refuse to believe that the ancient Egyptians and their here we go, Weebs, and the other original civilizations as well were black people. This in spite of countless evidences to the contrary. Egypt is in Africa. There are countless statues and paintings from ancient Egypt.
I'm about to make a really, really, really bad.
Which clearly show them to be black people. Even scientific studies of ancient Egyptian bones and mummy tissue, like this one, link here, does not satisfy them. Whites will doggedly point to artifacts from the periods of Greek and Roman rule and say, see, these are the, quote, real Egyptians. Of course, there is absolutely no reason why any reasonably intelligent human beings, not the white people, they don't count, would ever think that the ancient Egyptians were white people. But then, again, reason and intelligent thought have nothing to do with this. This is about their need to believe. The persistence in thinking is clearly not intellectual, but rather purely emotional.
Okay, pause. Because I'm about to say something like...
That's going to end your channel on YouTube.
So it's interesting, right? That apparently, the argument he's proposing here is that whites, all original civilizations, whites included, right, come from Black people originally, when the popular scientific consensus is that we originated from a primate-like species before we evolved into what is commonly referred to as the Homo sapien, right? So, now, son.
What?
Did I make sense?
Yeah, you did. It sounded like you were going to keep going, and it sounded a little abrupt the way you stopped there. I was like, what happened?
Now, son, if you want to make that argument, you can, but I don't think you're going to like where it leads to. Argumentatively, this is not a good argument to make. Like, if your purpose is to aggrandize this race as the greatest of all races, but using science, right? But using the same science, we can also trace back our ancestors to more primate, less, based types of humans. I don't think you're going to like where this goes. Unless we're going with the Yakub theory of human development, in which case, then go the fuck ahead. The Ufiomancer donated $2 over on the Streamlabs to say, Wisconsin just passed a law stating that no man over 200 pounds can walk around to press in public. I passed unanimously. Oh, topless. Topless in public. I wish I could read. I passed unanimously. Sorry, I butchered that. Sorry, Polly.
It's fine.
My atrocious argumentative / reading skills are just unleashed. The Aryan controversy. Do we want to delve into that? Is that his as well, or is that the beginning? Polly, let's skip all the rest of this. Let's go to the beginning. Are you still there?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm just like, this is a really long screaming mess of insanity.
I gave you options, Polly. It was this, or it was Christians against dinosaurs.
Actually, if you if you scroll down enough, there's a really sexy fit athlete from Kazakhstan.
Oh, here are the actual first Europeans. Are you sure about that?
What?
I'm scrolling down. I'm looking at dead bodies. You said
like they're showing pictures of white people from all over the world, and it's like, see, they really are actually albino.
These are actually redheads.
Yeah,
if it were true albinism, the Bati tribe of Pakistan still produces albinos identical to the original Caucasians. See, I thought we weren't the Caucasus. We were the albinos, but oh, look, a diagram. Polly, you want to pick this one apart? Or does this look uninteresting? Wait, actually, Native American.
Oh my God, I just scrolled down halfway to see it. This is just a mind-blowing babble fest. Look, there's all sorts of races from all over the world. And so, yeah, so what? What's your point?
We draw lines, and that means something, Polly. Lines mean things, Polly. Here we see the black and brown Indians and Europeans are genetically like two peas in a pod. Is that a scientific term? The two are alone by themselves in the human family. Clearly, it proves that Europeans are indeed Dravidian albinos. Does it? Does it prove that? Does it prove that? From the genetic structure and history of Africans and African Americans. 2010 supplementary figures and tables. Figure 1, unrooted neighbor joining tree base on pairwise nucleotide genetic distances using inferred ancestral allele frequencies from the global structure analysis at k = 4. at K equals 14. I'd like him to explain to me exactly what all of that meant, because that's a bunch of science babble that even I couldn't possibly comprehend unless I had like a science dictionary right next to me. And this man doesn't seem to be able to string more than Benjamin Franklin quotes and some diagrams from random studies together very well, much less comprehend what they actually mean.
Seriously, just scroll down like halfway or further or whatever. This is all some we was Kang shit. That's the whole fucking thing. This the whole thing boils down to we was Kangs. White people try and rewrite history to hide the fact that everybody that's important was actually black. Seriously, it's where the whole thing ends up going. Now, the white people aren't real people. They're just albino offshoots of pure people.
They're not real people.
Well, yeah, like they're just normal, actual, original man is of dark skin and stuff, and they are an albino offshoot that interbred with each other and thus became a separate population. But so therefore, they're not real people, and they have this obsession with hiding that their father was black. So they rewrite history to hide the fact that we was Kangs.
I have something to argue against you with that.
So right? Why can't I use the N-word?
Because, Polly, you're not dark enough. We do understand that the average person, after a lifetime of the albino lie that they, albinos, are native to the black man's ancient home of Europe. I'm sorry? Is this material hard to believe? Really now? So under the heading of Strange Bedfellows, we have this quote from the race experts at Stormfront. The race experts, Stormfront.
Really?
I think they're because it's quoted like race experts at Stormfront, so I don't think they're actually being serious. But quote, today's Central Asians are extensively mixed race with both whites and East Asian blood, and the white element is older since the whites were there first and are the indigenous people of Central Asia. Okay. Polly, yes. Can we agree? No one actually knows where the fuck humanity originated, correct?
Yeah,
no one knows beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
The reason why no one knows is because not a one of us was there when it happened, right?
All right.
We can only speculate based off of findings, and we can only speculate based off of those findings and maybe just some of what we know about humanity from today's standards, not humanity from back in the day standards. Plus, I'm pretty sure most genetic testings don't actually tell you the color of a person's skin that far after they've decomposed, correct?
Fair enough.
Okay. We can only surmise based off of what we know of humans today, what we might know of animal population patterns in general. And that's about it. We can't actually know for sure anything about our early ancestors except for what we speculate and maybe how they died based off of like bone abrasions or something. That's what gets me so pissed off is everyone in history or everyone who fancies themselves an armchair historian is always so certain of what history involves, especially that far back. They're always like, we know.
You know the fossil record for humanity? People are always referring, well, the fossil record shows, the fossil record shows. I'm not saying that you can't make some spectacularly detailed extrapolations and etc. off of the fossil record, but the entire fossil record for all of humanity can fit on a kitchen tabletop. No, I'm not even kidding. It's a amazingly small amount of bones. Like I think people get this idea of a fossil record and they think of 3 or 4 British museums full of endless trays and drawers and cartings of bones, and not even close. It can fit on your kitchen tabletop, and usually it's a piece of a jawbone, and that is the entirety of the skeleton. Everything else is extrapolated off of it. And it's like, well, what about, you know, there's Peking Man and so forth, and these various different skeletons that are found, and it's like, and what's your evidence that that's not a offshoot of mankind that never got very far, or a contemporary living person, like different species of early man existed at the same time, and some were wiped out and some weren't. And people read all kinds of crap into it. I've read these melanin scholars, like the melanin is magical type people, the Weebo Jones types, argue that, did you know that all European DNA contains 10% Neolithic caveman DNA, and so therefore,
what are we going to do with this information?
That's what because all of it drives at a moral point at the end. Notice that through this whole thing, and as I'm reading through it, it keeps coming back to, and what are you saying about this? And it's like, and therefore the white people are albinos and are trying to hide the fact that they're albinos. And it's like, there's the moral conclusion to everything that you're arguing.
Is that all?
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't really think that you're looking to, because this is all disparate information that's being dragged from here, and then like, look at this map that we've drawn some lines on, and then look at
I could do this if I had enough time and a few looser strands within my neural connections. Maybe I could do this. That's not a rating endorsement.
Well, I guess you could, but like, think of how many pages this is in total if you just scroll through them. Could you do this? I don't think that you've got the bizarre, obsessive, pathological rage against another race of people that you're willing to spend this much time correlating all of this information and writing all of this stuff to get at the point that black people know that X.
Well, okay, I don't think I could do this because I want. Oh, it's 82 pages, Polly.
See, like, think about that. 82 pages. Think how long it must have taken this nut bar to write this.
Twice the length of my thesis. And I haven't even started writing it yet. Oh my god. And so therefore, what's the point? I wonder, hang on. I'm just gonna I'm gonna come back to this. I'm just gonna scroll all the way down. All the way. Oh, there's another link. There's a hyperlink after this. What is I'm looking for like a summary, a point, something. Okay, here we go. Clearly then, white scientists us the presence of albinism genes in ancient humans to tell if they were white like modern Europeans. All the white denying that modern Europeans are albinos, or rather derived from the original Central Asian albinos who invaded Europe. To be clear, most modern Europeans are not pure albinos. Rather, they are various levels of mulatto derived from the original Germanic, Slav, and Turk albinos who invaded Europe, and the black Europeans they encountered as they entered Europe. Did he just do what I think he did?
Go on.
Did he just undermine his entire point? Like, they're trying to hide it from you, but we will acknowledge that they're not fully albinos. They're all mixed. Is that what I just read?
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, I'm gonna do a quick little search because I want to see what they have to say about Slavs, just cause. Polly, do you have not much more to include in this?
Like I said, just scrolling through his bullshit. Like I said, it's all driving at the point that it's not just Weebo Jones, it's they know Weebo Jones and they're trying to hide it. Jesus Christ. I mean, Weeb's put the link up in chat. By all means, look at it and see if it doesn't, if every time it goes to a piece of evidence, and it's like, okay, aiming at what? And then you get down to the green or red writing where he puts in his own opinion. And it comes down to they're albinos, they know it, and they're trying to hide that fact. It's really,
I want to read this section on the slums. Just because I think it would be funny. And my reaction is going to be abysmal. Or Polly, do you want to read this to me?
Which part? Where? What?
The Slavs section. There's an entire section dedicated to the Slavs.
Okay, I'm gonna actually have to text search for that. I'll scroll down.
It's the fourth result down.
Slavs.
My body is ready.
Okay.
Gib. Oh, this gonna be good. The UFO answer donated $2 to say, what does Dr. Henry Board have to say on this albino theory? Henry Board? It's a good question. We should consult him.
The part that just starts the Slavs with according to Eastern Homeland Theory?
Yes, that part right there. You got it.
Oh, really quick. Lime Patriot over on Streamlabs. Thank you very much for the donation. Says pecan pie is my favorite pie. Or pecan. It's pecan pie. It's what?
It's pecan.
Pecan pie is my favorite pie. I have no hill to die on when it comes to the pronunciation of that particular pie. Pecan. The Slavs. How do the Slavs feel about pecan pie?
I'm not a big fan of nuts to begin with, but that makes me an anomaly. I much prefer my fruity pies. You know how it be.
I like fruity pies as well.
Mm-hmm. No, but I like some fruity pie.
Best pie is lemon meringue, in my opinion.
I like apple pie. But there's also this really delicious Hershey pie that you can get at the dollar store. It's like a chocolate cream brownie pie thing. It's diabetes in a triangle.
Yeah, it's like when I looked at a molasses pie for the first time, I was like, oh my God, that is just a way to explode your insulin producers, man. Holy shit.
I love molasses.
So do I. People need to cook and make things with more molasses, like substitute it instead of sugar, because it's just
actually, I have an entire molasses cookie recipe that doesn't just substitute. It doesn't substitute molasses. It has molasses plus brown sugar.
Oh.
And so they're probably some of the most diabetic configurations of food that I've ever come across in my entire life, and they're my favorite because
configurations of food. They're not Transformers.
Don't worry about it; it's not a big deal. Because not only is there the molasses, but there's also the brown sugar. But on top of this, you put frosting, so it's confectioner sugar and milk and maybe some vanilla, right? And then you just dunk them in there and you wait for them to dry, and then you have basically the most sugary of cookies, and it's so good. I love them so much. Sorry.
Yes, you wanted me to read this, the Slavs before the Turks here, right?
Mm-hmm. I am ready to hear about my people.
All right, here we go. Give it to me. According to the Eastern Homeland Theory, prior to becoming known to the Roman world, Slavic-speaking tribes were part of the many multi-ethnic confederacies of Eurasia, such as the Sumerian, the Hun, and Gothic empires. The Slavs emerged from obscurity when the westward movement of Germans in the 5th and 6th centuries AD, thought to be in conjunction with the movement of peoples from Siberia and Eastern Europe, Huns, later Avars and Bulgars, started the Great Migration of the Slavs, comma. This guy needs to learn to be more brief.
Nah. This is everything I could ever hope for in race theory. Gonna read that super chat? Yeah, I'm gonna read the super chat. I thought you were gonna say something, and then I was like, okay. Thank you, Ebony Williams, for the $2 over on the super chats. Here you go, dear. Thoughts on bread pudding? I've never actually had bread pudding. Is it good?
I like it. I actually haven't had a lot of varieties of bread pudding. I think I've had bread pudding twice and rice pudding once, and that's it. I'd like to try more. People just like melt over how awesome they are, so I'd like to try more.
Okay.
Where was I? Okay. The Great Migration. Yeah, comma. The Great Migration of the Slavs, comma, who settled the lands abandoned by Germanic tribes, fleeing the Huns and their allies. They moved westward into the country between the older and EBCD southward.
I don't know.
LB Sal line. Southward into Bohemia, Moravia, much present-day Australia. And
what the fuck? Did you see that?
What?
My light just went on for no reason. It just turned on.
Okay. Much of present-day Austria, the Plain, and the Balkans, and northward along the upper River. Perhaps some Slavs migrated with the movement of the Vandals to Iberia and North Africa. Around the 6th century, Slavs appeared on Byzantine borders in great numbers. Okay. It's just blinked in there.
Oh boy, they're just here, all over the place. Welcome.
On the borders. Goddamn Slavs. The Byzantines needed to build a wall, damn it.
Apparently we're invaders.
The Byzantine records note that grass wouldn't regrow in places where the Slavs had marched through. So great were their numbers.
Oh, all right. I can do that. Yep. All right.
After military movements, even the Peloponnese and Asia Minor, Turkey, were reported to have had Slavic settlements. By the end of the 6th century AD, Slavs had settled in the Eastern Alps region. Slavic peoples are classified geographically and linguistically into West Slavics, including Czechs, Moravians, Poles, Soleks, and Sorbs. Sorbs?
I'm a little bit offended that you just kind of blah your way through my people.
Well, if I can't read it quickly, I'm just going to...
Sound it out. Damn it, Polly. You're
East Slavic, including the Belarusians, Russians, and Ukrainians, and South Slavic.
A Russian and a Russian.
Well, just do you see like Rusyun, like the Russian, and South Slavic, including the Bosniaks, Bulgarians, the Krauts, the Macedonians, the Serbs, and Slovenes. Slavic. Okay, I'm done. Like it's just listing off names of people that may or may not actually exist outside this person's imagination.
That's fair. I thought that was going to be more like. I was sorely disappointed.
Okay, you're a weird internet racist. This is.
You're just a racist.
Well, no, these people, like the people who write these, strange melanin supremacy blogs and 1488 white power blogs and stuff. It's fine that they exist because nut bars out there always exist.
I love that they're out there.
Yeah, and the internet is the democratization of insanity. Like you'll always be able to find some little spot to print your nuttery. The part that bothers me is that blogs like the Mary Sue and the Root are not classified in the same category as nut bars like this when they clearly are. They're fruitcakes like these people. You've read through the Root. It's nuts. Yeah. It's insane. It's referencing this kind of crap, but through pop culture. Therefore, somehow is more relevant and mainstream when it's not. It's the same level of fruitcakery.
I like the adjective. It counts as an adjective, right? The adjective of fruitcakery.
Fruitcakery.
I quite enjoy that, Polly. I'm going to use that more in my everyday life. Thank you to Lion Patriot who donated $5 to say, I had to watch Beardy's bottom today. He had stinky dookie butt. Well, that's entirely too much information. I did not need to know that.
Yeah, Assassin of the Grays. There's blog journalism. It's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many insane rantings that really should be regulated. Regulated. They really should be put in the position of being nothing but insane ranting blogs along the lines of Time Cube. I mean, Sargon, like Carl Benjamin Sargon, he just did an article that was in the New York Times that was on women pooping. It was in the New York Times, and it was an opinion piece, and it was along the lines of this kind of fruitcakery. Like, society was built by men for men, and it limits the way that women can poop. Don't you know that women can poop? And it talks about the little cultural realities of pooping as a woman in public bathrooms. I bring it up because it's like, this should not be in a mainstream publication. This is insane blog ranting.
Yeah, that's fair.
But as long as you're coming along the lines, coming from the perspective of something that can be described in progressive liberal terms, it doesn't really matter how ridiculous what you're saying is. It will achieve mainstream publication, mainstream classification because of it.
Polly, you're telling me that this isn't the mainstream. This entire, like, mind-numbingly stupid thesis. This whole thing. This is within the public consensus.
No, this
No.
is because it's not written in such a way, it's not smoothed out in such a way that this, I could take this guy's information and rewrite it with certain key talking points and well-used phrases, mention Trump in the first sentence, etc. And yes, this could be publishable in the New York Times or the Guardian or the Independent. Yes, absolutely. White people's history is not what they think it is. And go from there. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, this is actually absolutely, as long as you write it in the right way, this 1488 level bullshit racial theory could be written up in a mainstream publication. Just use the right talking points to do so. Yeah.
Interesting. One correction. I read Lion Patriot's Streamlabs wrong. He was talking about buddies, not beardies. Wow. I had like 2 beers before I got on air. All right. So apparently
it's cocktail hour. It's fine.
Cocktail hour, obviously. I need to get more like casual booze, because right now all I got is tequila and Malibu and Crown Royal Peach, but I don't have anything to mix the Crown Royal Peach with.
You know how I like my whiskey?
How do you like your whiskey?
In a glass.
Polly, you goddamn alcoholic. Thank you to Ebony Williams for the $2. Here's more monies, and yes, bread pudding is life.
Hold on, I'll be back in just a quick second.
So I just would like to reiterate my point of we know nothing about history except for what it is that we can read in primary sources and what we can divine from the bones of our ancestors, which is not a lot, because there's nothing certain. There's nothing certain about all of that nonsense. I just need to get that across. That was one of my main points in the Radio 1 debate, all right? That we cannot know for certain, well, anything to do with history that far back that contrived. But we can also not know anything for certain about a person's skin color from that far back either. Doesn't that make sense? Like, you can guess. As far as I'm aware, there's no actual genetic test that tells you exactly the shade of Caucasian that someone was. And here's the other thing too, right? In the decay process, things adjust. Colors lighten and they darken depending on how it is that you decay. There are bog swamp people in Europe, in England, who have been sunk underneath the waters, the really watery surfaces of the bogs in England, right? And they are really dark in complexion because of the way that they've decomposed. There are mummies that have also been studied that don't look nearly like the complexion that they probably were in life. And that's the other thing too, is that bones don't tell you anything about complexion, but neither does a person's skin color after 2,000 years of being in the earth. Like, let's be honest, wear and tear happens. Shit occurs. What's so funny?
Weird shit happens. Okay, that's the summary.
It does. Have you ever looked into the decomposition of the human body? It's quite fascinating, quite varied, depending on the circumstances surrounding that person's body and what exactly goes. Peat bogs. Thank you, Lion Patriot. Yeah, we were talking about peat bogs earlier. Have you heard of those?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They were. Yeah. I already told the chat about it. You already know about it, so I don't have to reiterate that point. And now I've lost my place. I was saying something about how we know nothing. We know nothing. We know nothing. I actually get to learn more about peat bogs this semester in my archaeology of ancient Britain class. I love archaeology, even though you can't really know anything for certain. You can still find out some pretty interesting stuff, especially through experimental archaeology. Polly.
Yeah.
Polly.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with the concept of experimental archaeology?
No.
Okay. So think of it as you have this idea of how people did this thing way back when without modern technology, right? And you want to know how exactly they went about getting that. result based off of the technology available to them at the time. For instance, how do you make fire without matches, Polly? Using just natural things that you find in the woods that you can pick up off the ground. That wasn't rhetorical.
How do you do archaeology with things you just pick up off the ground?
Oh, Polly, you're not listening to me.
I'm sorry. I just started reading this article about a man drowned while proposing to his wife. It's sad.
Polly. Polly.
Sorry.
I was trying to explain to her about archaeology.
No, I'm listening now. It's minimized. Go ahead.
Polly, listen to me. I'm a woman.
Listen to me. I'm a woman. Is that what you just said?
Okay. So experimental archaeology is basically the concept, or the idea of how do we get this result based off of only the use of technology that would have been available to the people of the time that we're looking at, right?
Right.
So how do you make fire if you don't have matches? If you're like in the Neolithic time period,
how do you do it?
How do you do it?
I can think of a few ways.
You can think of a few ways, but like, what's the easiest way for the people in that region of the world that would be most? Well, flint rock, obviously. Some flint. I think it's not steel, is it? It's steel. But then you also don't have to bring the flint and the rock around with you everywhere you go. You can actually burn some horse hooves fungus, right? Because it occurs naturally or whatever, and you can burn it and it retains an ember for a while after. So you basically have transportable fire. Right. You can bring from point A to point B. Sure. You also make the use of sphagnum moss in a lot of different things. For instance, it can be used to wrap things like the burning embers on a horse hoof fungus. You can use it to wipe down a baby after it's exited the birth canal because it's got medicinal properties and stuff. All this other jazz. And this would have been only things that they used when they didn't have what we now know today is like antiseptic or whatever. And maybe even prior to that. Definitely prior to that. But it's fascinating stuff. It's also like, when they made that trireme or remade that trireme in Greece, a replica of the trireme in Greece. They don't actually have one, but they have the plans for them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's experimental archaeology. It's taking what we could possibly derive from our ancestors and how they possibly could have done things and doing those things with only what they had. It's so fascinating.
Oh, so that was okay. I was waiting for some and therefore in conclusion, and it's the conclusion I'm interested.
And therefore in conclusion, I'm super interested in that.
Do you want to hear about how this guy died?
Okay, yeah. Hit me with it.
All right. This is so sad. I'm gonna bring you down. You ready? A Louisiana man has drowned after proposing to his girlfriend underwater while the couple was vacationing in Tanzania. Mm-hmm. Stephen Weber and Kenesha and Twan, I'm going to say, were staying blah, 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 blah. Okay. Weber proposed Thursday by swimming underwater. Now, okay, have you ever seen those hotel rooms that are like submerged? So you look out the window and it's underwater. Do you know what I'm talking?
That would be so cool. Yes, I have seen that, but think about staying at that. That would be so cool. All right.
Yeah, it absolutely would. And this is one of the places that they were staying at. Okay. So this guy gets I actually think good for you, buddy. This is really romantic. He swims up to the window with a note proposing to her. So she's sitting there in their little vacation submerged hotel room, and her boyfriend swims up to the window with a proposal. That's good for you, man. That's kind of cool. So, but fine, here's what happened. Weber proposed Thursday by swimming underwater and holding a handwritten note against the bedroom window, according to a video that she posted on Facebook before presenting a ring. The note, which Weber had placed inside a transparent plastic bag, read, quote, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you. But everything I love about you, I love more every day. Will you please be my wife? Marry me?" ? But Weber failed to resurface.
Dude.
He never emerged from those depths, so he never got to hear my answer. It was yes, yes, 1,000,000 times I will marry you, she wrote.
You're gonna make me cry.
How sad is that?
Oh.
And they don't know why he died, what happened after this. The video is recorded and posted on Facebook, and she actually wrote, like, you never got to hear my answer because you never came back up, but it was yes.
My heart.
Oh my God, that's so tragic.
Polly, how freaking dare you?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't appreciate this.
I'm saying it's one of those stories where it's like, oh, this dumbass. It's like, well, I don't know. I think some tragic swimming accident happened. You don't think you're going to
bumped
die.
His head or something?
Yeah, like any number of things. Like he took a lungful of water accidentally and panicked. Like shit happens, right? But damn.
God damn it. Boyfriend better not do anything that's stupid.
That's what I'm saying. The positivity that could come out of this is you need to tell your boyfriend, I'm all for romantic proposals, but nothing that you could possibly die in the action of committing, okay?
No, because I know that if I did tell him exactly that, he would do exactly the opposite of what I told him. He would go out of his way to make like a statement. Because he's into that kind of stuff. He's into
skydiving. No firearms should be involved in your proposal.
Right,
no.
Right. Here are some rules. All right. You have to fit yourself within the parameters of these rules. You are not allowed to skydive. You're not allowed to use firearms. No flamethrowers of any sort, size, or degree. I swear to God. If you ride in on a motorcycle and you still don't have your M class, we're going to have problems. No horses. All right.
Yeah.
No tattoos because he's afraid of needles. So I proposed to her riding a wild shark. Damn it! I said no dangerous. But you didn't say no wild shark. Oh God, no. We're never showing this to El Boyfriendo Supreme. What about live lions? Heckin' no. At the very least, have a scuba diver nearby in case of emergency. That's what Balik's for. He's certified. That's his area of expertise. Yeah.
Do you want to Oh Jesus. Do you want to take it in a funnier direction that goes back? Because God, we need to. Yeah.
We can't end on such a depressing note. Polly,
Right?
this is cocktail hour, not depress me hour, right?
See, well, Scrappy says, hold on, let me show that because it's not, there we go. Scrappy says it was only about 10 to 20 feet down. He's a fucking dumbass. Hey man, stupid accidents at the worst time occurred. Like I said, Weeb said he could have just bumped his head. Could have happened. He could have taken a lungful of air and panicked.
That is possible too.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to call the guy a dumbass because freaky accidents occur. More people drown in swimming pools than die by firearm accidents. An actual statistic. People drown in those little kiddie pools and only have, whatever, like a foot of water in them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I think the study is like you can drown within under an inch of water. Is it? I'm not certain on that. I'm not 100%. If you cannot swim well, you do not swim. See, here's a fun story. Papa Jones, that's what we're calling my dad, right? Papa Jones decided at a very early age, my early age, not his early age, to train the youngins in the art of the water. That does not limit itself to just swimming, all right? Because if it did, he wouldn't have had any need to chuck us 12 feet across a lake.
That's the way he taught you the art of the water. He chucked you into a lake.
Yeah. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, me and my cousins and my brother, we were all super hyped about everything, and my dad was always super hyped about everything too. So we'd like run up to him, and his initial reaction in the water was to just grab us and throw us across the lake because it wasn't that deep. It was maybe 4-5 feet ish, but we could tread water pretty easily, and it wasn't like we could also touch at certain points. So it wasn't super deep. When the lake was high, yes, it was like 4 feet or something. But he'd chuck us across the lake. But not only that, all right, as we got older, the water shenanigans got a little bit more exciting. So we graduated pretty soon to water skiing. He would throw us off the side of the boat and attach us to a metal pole that he'd rigged up to hold our weight with a ski rope. And then the ski rope and the pole also had an attachment to the front of the skis, which had like a line between it. So we were attached to a metal pole on the side of a boat, holding on for dear life with a pair of skis attached to our feet. And he would just be sitting there, and he wouldn't be driving the boat. Our aunt would be doing it. And so he'd be yelling like commands to her about like slow it down, speed it up, go faster. And that's how I learned to ski. And then he threw us behind the boat, and we learned to double ski and then slalom ski behind the boat. And then wakeboarding, kneeboarding, whatever. But then it went to ultimate tubing. Let me tell you, this man has no mercy. Because have you ever gone tubing, Polly?
Yes, actually.
Yeah? How did you find it?
It was all right, I guess.
All right. What was your level of excitement, like adrenaline?
Not much.
How tight did you hold onto the tube?
Fairly.
Fairly tight? How many times did you fall off?
Oh, a gang of times.
Did it ever hurt?
No.
Okay. You see, the water sports in my family are no joke. You hold on for dear life, hope to not let go, and sometimes you clash into the other tube that you attach behind the boat too, because it's not just one tube, it's both tubes. And you got 4 people on one or on all 2 of these tubes, and you got them crashing into each other, flipping over each other, some people falling off on their backs onto the other tube, some people just skipping like rocks across the surface of the water, some people flying as high as a freaking kite. I have videos of me actually going about 12 feet above the like surface of the water in the air due to hitting a wave at the right speed at the right angle. And I've had the back of my feet touch the back of my head because I've just kind of like flopped around in such a way with so much force that that's what happened. So that's my dad. And I don't know where I was going with this tangent. Something about water sports. Oh yeah, don't mess around unless you have messed around in the water before. All right? Experienced swimmers only. It is so much fun. Sorry, I was responding to Evolved Potatoes.
Oh, okay. You know what? I said this should be fun. And fun, I mean, like, Jesus Christ, like CNN. Like, remember I was talking about, like, ranty blogs used to be just in the weird corners of the internet, like the history of HuWhite people that we just read, but now they're mainstreamed. And we need an article that's like fun, and I mean fun, pointing out that CNN and MSNBC and Vox and Daily Beast are glorified blogs at this point. They're not really anything more. You're just more professional at times writing, and I don't mean in terms of use of grammar. HuWhite points out consistently just how bad the editing is in terms of writing and punctuation at CNN. I just means in terms of the general word use and not using 35 different fonts and 6 different colors to make it look like it's not the rantings of a pure lunatic. They're able to hide their lunacy through mild professionalism. This article I read is, quote, this is the headline. Sure, comma, black people can be racist, comma, too. Really?
Sure.
With the subheading being, are the lines on racism blurring? What? I'm
intrigued.
Like the insinuation being what? With are the lines of racism blurring? Question mark. Like, because racism only ever came in one direction. Now, before I started reading this, as the brilliant KRS-One once said, if you don't know the author, you don't know what you read. If you don't know the speaker, you don't know what they said. So who is it that we're talking about here? Why, this is John Blake, writing for CNN, who's a CNN Enterprise writer/producer. The articles, and I'm just the headlines to this man's credit are as follows. Is Martin Luther King's greatest victory being undone? Why Bigfoot is getting nervous. How Game of Thrones is like America. Of course presidents lie. When you're the only white person in the room, the post-racial revolution will be televised. Trump is doing what Obama couldn't. Why El Paso and other recent attacks in the US are modern-day lynchings. What it's like to be a white woman named Lakeisha. The terrible hypocrisy that got Chicago's first black lesbian mayor elected. Jussie Smollett's race card is about to be declined. Are the lines on racism blurring? With a question of a southern white Dixiecrat.
Wait, hang on. Is this all one article, or are you?
No. These are headlines to this man's credit.
Oh, okay.
On CNN. These are just each one is just an individual headline, right?
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I was gonna say, interesting. Sorry.
Analysis. It's time to give some bigots a break. A new Supreme Court posed to take a chunk out of Martin Luther King's legacy. Why the fervor over white teen and MAGA hat hurts people who need to be seen the most. So do you get the idea? Like this guy just like, in his own description, it's John Blake is a native of Baltimore, Maryland. He writes about race, religion, politics, and other assorted topics. He's a random blogger. That's it. That's all you are, buddy. You're a fucking blogger. You're not a journalist. Everything you write is, quote, opinion analysis. In other words, your personal blog that somehow found its way onto CNN because they, like you, have lowered your standards so much that you're actually considering your random diary blog thoughts to count as journalism at this point. So I'm really looking forward to the article that he wrote entitled, Sure, Black People Can Be Racist Too. Subheading, Are the Lines on Racism Blurring? ? So let's see what he has to say, shall we?
Let's.
Comedian Chris Rock recently got into trouble after posting a meme with a picture of Betty White, the former Golden Girls actress. Quote, the first thing people say when a mass shooting is announced. Have you seen that? Actually, I've seen that meme.
I have not.
Get it? The joke of it, though? It's got no text. It's just a picture of Betty White. And it's like the first thing that people ask after a mass shooting. Betty White? I bet he is white.
I got it.
Okay. All right.
No, I got it.
All right.
I'm not that blonde, Polly.
The unspoken punchline, bet he white. Some white critics called Rock a racist, but the comedian's defenders invoked an old argument. He can't be racist because he's black. While others can debate whether or not Rock is a racist, the reaction to his meme raises a bigger question. Why can't blacks be racist? Wow. Okay, I'm loving where this is going. I'm just curious as to where this particular guy in his blog on CNN is going to take it. There's a popular belief that people of color can't be racist because they don't have enough power. Racism, the thinking goes, transcends prejudice. It's a system of advantage based on race where people of color don't have the institutional power to oppress others. But Ibram X. Kendi, this guy that he posts a picture of, demolishes this notion in his provocative new book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. Kendi, a lean man with long dreads and an encyclopedic knowledge of Western history, says that the notion black people can't be racist is tainted by racism itself.
Interesting.
Quote, like every other racist idea, the powerless defense underestimates black people and overestimates white people, Kendi says. Kendi's new book is an essential reading for anyone trying to figure out why racism remains such a destructive force in American life. Because people like you make a literal living off of rubbing the wounds and picking the scabs to continue to earn money, pretending that something that doesn't actually affect you to any large degree is the primary driving force in your existence. That's why. Anyway, moving on. There is arguably no better commentator on race in America today. Really? That's a bold statement. Kendi's previous book, Stamped from the Beginning, won a National Book Award. He is also the founding director. Did this guy pay you?
Probably.
He is also the founding director of the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center at American University, a never-ending blight on AU's campus. not blight isn't the right word, embarrassment. Like, you founded the Anti-Racist Research and Policy Center? What a ridiculous joke. What is it? 5 guys who sit around and crank out research all saying the same thing? And a 2019 Guggenheim fellow. And that's why the Guggenheim Award, I'm just going to talk endlessly race, and I'm black, give me awards. This is how, I mean, maybe this guy is sharp. I haven't read his book, so I probably shouldn't be that condescending to him because of that. But it's, when you have guys from CNN, what's his name? He won the Trailblazing in Journalism Award, and he's not even a journalist. Oh shit! I can picture him now. No, but he did. He won the guy is absolutely steeped in awards now. He's a CNN commentator. He's not even a journalist. He's a former White House Obama official for green energy, and for a whopping 18 months worked in the Obama administration as a green energy consultant, as the head of a team of 3 people, and ended up getting himself fired for saying a bunch of racist nonsense online.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. And that guy wins a whole fuck ton of awards because CNN decided to hire him as a commentator. And now he hosts his own show on Saturdays, and he interviewed Jay-Z. Yay. Great. So I don't know, because there's crap like a guy who literally lived in a communist commune and then got into Yale, he admits, because he checked off the African-American box on his application. Went to Yale Law School, never passed a bar anywhere, never practiced law a day in his life, went on to be a green energy guy. And it's like, I'm black and I talk about green energy, so give me awards. Got hired by the Obama White House and ended up getting himself fired because of this, and hired as a CNN commentator. This guy's a grifter. He's a race hustler. And so when guys like this Ibram X start talking about race, and they're called like the most brilliant guy, and he's a Guggenheim fellow, because there's people like that, I look at him and assume he's a hustler too. And he might not even be. All right. Sorry for the rant. Okay, here we go.
Oh, no, you're fine. So did we say we were going to stop at 9:30?
Yeah. Do you want me to finish this article, or we can just call it quits and come back to it next time?
Can we call it quits and come back to it next time? Because I do have to call El Boyfriendo. It's his birthday today.
I know it is. Tell him happy birthday for all of us.
I will.
All right. No, fair enough. Well, the cocktail hour, which goes 90 minutes, which is fine because we drink. Mm-hmm. I will actually just save this article. Sure, black people can be racist too, over to another folder, and we will certainly come back to it next time. Put it in the folder. Yeah, by the way, chat, Weebs has a polyfodder folder, so it's like articles that she comes across that she has a reasonable
suspicion
that they are going to enrage me. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that tell you a lot that she's just like through her internet surfing comes across article? Oh, this will piss Polly off, and saves it. Jesus.
Anyway, so we're on for Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be back here. Yes. Yeah,
we will, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. I was just making sure, like, because with SDA we switched off on channels, but this is nicer, Just keep it
it's nicer, and I mean, there's the blunt truth of it. You have over 10 times my subsubscribers, so know.
We're gonna help Holly out a little bit.
Let's be a practicalist about this. Like,
exactly. Would it be utilitarian?
It would be utilitarian in a John Stuart Mill sense of utilitarianism. What's for the greater good, etc.
Exactly. So we'll be back here Thursday, 8:00 Eastern time. What time What time Christmas Island?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. God damn it. Anyway, we'll be back here 8:00 Eastern Standard Time, which is the only time that really matters, not Christmas Island. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I will not have you disrespecting the 1,800 inhabitants of Christmas Island.
Polly, you got to get used to this kind of nonsense, all right?
We're
going to have a working relationship. There are a few quirks.
They are stalwart people. They are the salt of the earth.
All right. Agree to disagree.
They have an island that is overridden with giant nightmare crabs. You leave them alone. They got enough to deal with.
All right, fine. I will leave them out of this. Well, we'll be back here this Thursday, and then after that hellish week that I'm about to have next week, we'll do this regularly on Sunday instead of switching it up on you guys. But we'll be back here this coming Thursday, 8 Eastern Standard Time. Are there any other shenanigans that you want to contribute to the end of this, Polly? Or did I do a good job?
No, that was it. We'll usually be doing it Sunday, but Weebs has a really complicated and involved weekend coming up next weekend. So instead of
a weekend and a week.
Yeah. So instead of like just skipping an entire week, we're going to do a one-off cocktail hour on Thursday instead, which will, like I said, next Thursday, like Weeb said, it'll be next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. on Christmas Island.
Yep.
Here on this channel.
On this channel. All right. So with that in mind, we'll continue this conversation then. So be here or be square. And with that, subscribe to Polly.
Yay.
And like this video. Later. Say bye, Polly.
Have a good night, everyone.